All right, let's dive right in. Tonight, we're stepping into that weird, quiet world of the late hours. The hum of fluorescent lights, the deep shadows. We're going to take a close look at what happens when the lonely, predictable silence of a night shift gets completely shattered by something deeply wrong. And that quote right there, that really gets to the heart of what we're digging into. See, it's not just about being alone. It's about being seen while you're alone, being a single point of light in this huge empty darkness. And that creates this very specific kind of vulnerability that just makes the hair on your arms stand up. If you're working the night shift in some isolated spot, like a small hotel, a motel out in the middle of nowhere, or a tiny 24-hour gas station, the silence is kind of the whole point. It's supposed to be safe because nothing is supposed to happen. That predictability, it's like your armor. Yeah, there's a rhythm to that quiet. The hum of a soda cooler, the old building creaking, the buzz of a keycard reader. It's a soundscape you get used to. The real terror, the psychological part, kicks in when a new sound breaks that rhythm, a sound that just doesn't belong. So, how does that fear actually start? Well, it's almost never this big, sudden jump scare, right? It's more like a subtle crack in the mirror. It's that quiet little moment where your gut just screams that the pattern of the night has been broken, that something is just fundamentally off. And look at these red flags. On their own, they seem like nothing, right? But in the middle of the night, they're basically warning shots. Our brains are wired to see patterns, and these are glitches in the system. A person, a car, a sound, each one is an unexpected piece of data in what should be a totally controlled environment. It's the first hint that you're not actually alone. Okay, so take the hotel incident. This thing unfolds so slowly, it's like a slow burn nightmare. It starts totally normal. A guy checks in. But a couple hours later, the worker realizes this guy doesn't exist in the computer. He never actually went to his room. He's just there. A ghost in the machine, kind of methodically testing the boundaries of the place he's just broken into. And this is where that flip switches in your head, right? The worker has to make a call. Is this just a weird computer bug? Or is this person actively lying to me to get access to this building? The second you even have to ask that question, that's the moment confusion hardens into real, genuine fear. And this is where things go from just weird to something else. This is where the game changes. The antagonists, they start to show their hand. They reveal they haven't just been hanging around, they've been watching. And suddenly, the threat feels personal, it feels calculated, and it feels terrifyingly close. Just listen to this quote. This is from Meredith's story about a guy named Paul. He doesn't just know her name, he knows the tiny, specific quirks of her handwriting. This is not a random encounter anymore. The message is crystal clear. I've been studying you. And that's the difference, isn't it? A car just sitting in the parking lot? Yeah, that's unsettling. But when Paul reveals he knows her exact nightly routine, that she checks the lock on the back room at 2 a.m. almost every single night, the whole dynamic shifts. That's the difference between just watching and active surveillance. He hasn't just seen her, he's learned her. And then you have this moment from Daniel's story, which, wow, just imagine this. He keeps hearing this phantom bell ringing. He looks everywhere, sees nothing. Then, finally, he sees it. The person wasn't outside. They were hiding under the front desk, just a few feet away from him the whole time. The threat wasn't just in the building. It was inside his personal space. But this case, at the gas station, this one's a whole different animal. This wasn't a lone wolf. This felt planned. A brand new car with no license plates parks in a blind spot. When the driver gets confronted by some other people, he bolts, and immediately a second identical car that was also just waiting there follows him out. This feels like a coordinated effort that only got messed up because other people showed up unexpectedly. So what happens when you can't ignore the threat anymore? You can't just explain it away. This is the climax. This is that moment where the worker is forced to stop questioning what's happening and start doing something to survive it. And what do? There's really only one thing left to do. In the hotel, at the gas station, with Paul, at the motel, the second that threat becomes undeniable, the call gets made. It is the universal signal that the illusion of safety is completely, totally gone. And when the police show up, what they find, it's just bone-chilling. The guy at the hotel, he used a stolen credit card just to get inside the building. No luggage, nothing. And in Paul's car, police found a notepad. It detailed Meredith's entire life, her work schedule, what she wore, what groceries she bought, and a Polaroid picture he had taken of her, without her ever knowing. This wasn't random. This was research. But remember that gas station, the one with the 2 cars? That threat didn't get stopped by the police. It just dissolved the second a group of customers showed up. And that really highlights the predator's main strategy here. They absolutely rely on their victim being isolated. You take away the isolation, and the threat just evaporates. You'd think the story ends there, right? The person's gone, the police leave, but it's not over. Not even close. The real impact is the psychological scar that stays behind. The fear creates an echo that just imprints itself on your mind. And this chart gives us a pretty clear picture of that echo. Meredith, the gas station clerk, she couldn't stay. She ended up transferring to a store in a new town 2 hours away. Others are left with new phobias, or just this constant nagging paranoia. The job, the town, your sense of security, it all gets taken away. And these words from Daniel, man, they just say it all. A simple, everyday object, a front desk bell, is now a permanent trigger for the terror he felt that night. It's a constant, physical reminder of the hand that reached out from the darkness. And that's really the true horror of it all, isn't it? It isn't just about what these people actually did, it's about what they intended to do. It's your brain filling in all the empty spaces with endless, horrifying possibilities of what they were planning if they hadn't been stopped. That's the horror that sticks with you. So we're left with this question. In those quietest hours of the night, when you're sure you're the only one watching, it's probably worth asking, who or what might be watching you back from just outside the light?